Okay, so the topic of discussion today is parasympathetic ganglia. In our head and neck, we have four parasympathetic ganglia like ciliary ganglia, the largest of all being pterygopalatine ganglia, otic ganglia, and submandibular ganglia. Ciliary ganglia is located in orbit, apex of orbit. Okay. Pterygopalatine ganglia is located in this fossa between the maxilla and the pterygoid plate. That is called as pterygopalatine fossa. That is where the pterygopalatine ganglion is located. Okay. Next comes otic ganglion, that is located in infratemporal fossa. And this last one is submandibular ganglion, located in submandibular region. Okay. Now before to all this, the common idea I'll tell you, all these ganglia are topographically or structurally related to trigeminal nerve. Okay, trigeminal nerve, it has a nucleus throughout the brainstem. Okay, that includes, this is brainstem guys, midbrain, pons, medulla. So this is the nucleus of trigeminal. Okay, considering it is getting all the fibers, yeah, and it has a ganglia that is only called as trigeminal ganglia. All right, in the middle cranial fossa. Now it has three components. What is it? Ophthalmic component, yeah, then it has maxillary component and mandibular component. All right, mandibular nerve especially, what are the two nerves in relation to otic and submandibular? I'll tell you. There is one branch called as auriculotemporal nerve, and there is one more branch which is called as lingual nerve, which is going to the tongue. That is why I have drawn a pictorial representation of tongue. Yeah. So the submandibular ganglia is clinched to lingual nerve. What nerve is this? Lingual nerve. We have one more branch from mandibular. So you need to understand mandibular nerve is leaving the cranium through foramen ovale. Yeah. So the nerve which is topographically related to the otic ganglion is auriculotemporal nerve. Okay, this is foramen ovale. We also have this maxillary component. So this is mandibular component. I'll use a different color so for your understanding. This is mandibular component, this is maxillary component, and this is ophthalmic division. Maxillary nerve leaves the middle cranial fossa through a foramen called as foramen rotundum. Okay, and ophthalmic division enters into the orbit through a fissure called as superior orbital fissure. Is that okay? So this is superior orbital fissure, this is foramen rotundum, and this is foramen ovale. I hope you are understanding. Okay. Now which branch of ophthalmic division? I'll tell you. When it enters into superior orbital fissure, the ophthalmic division, it gives so many branches like frontal nerve. Yeah, frontal nerve is the one which divides supratrochlear, supraorbital. Then it gives lacrimal nerve. So for our convenience, we will draw both the nerves. Lacrimal nerve, yeah, and it gives one in the middle called as nasociliary nerve. Nasociliary nerve. This is, I'll use a different color, nasociliary nerve. Ophthalmic division branch aanu nasociliary nerve. It also has one more branch, lacrimal nerve, small nerve. Frontal nerve is not of our concern, that's why I am not drawing it. Okay, right? Now continuing up, that is about ophthalmic division. You need to understand. Maxillary division, let me tell you, it's the second component of trigeminal ganglia. Maxillary nerve will enter through foramen rotundum. Yeah. Now where is it going? It enters into the area where the pterygopalatine ganglion is located. Where is pterygopalatine ganglion? Yeah, I was talking about maxillary nerve. Okay, maxillary nerve, when it enters into foramen rotundum, through that it will enter into, where is this PP ganglion located? In PP fossa, that is pterygopalatine fossa. So once it enters into pterygopalatine fossa, it clinches with this ganglia. Okay. Now I'm not talking in detail about maxillary nerve, but you should have an understanding that maxillary nerve gives a branch. Okay, that is called a zygomatic branch. Zygomatic branch goes and supplies the face, I agree, but it does have a communication with lingual nerve. I'll use not lingual nerve, I'm sorry, this is lacrimal nerve. Yeah, I'll use a dotted line for your understanding. Zygomatic nerve, what nerve is this? Zygomatic nerve do have a communication with lacrimal nerve. Okay, about that I will tell you, because we have a gland here, lacrimal gland, how the secretion is poured in, all that we will talk later, but have an understanding for now. Okay, now talking about mandibular nerve, what is your knowledge about mandibular nerve? Mandibular nerve enters into, leaves the cranium through foramen ovale. Yeah, then it divides into anterior division, posterior division. Yeah, anterior division we are not much bothered because it gives mostly muscular to muscles of mastication. We are more bothered about posterior division. Posterior division, it gives mostly sensory, especially auriculotemporal. I'll write here 18. And we have lingual nerve, which I have already written here. Okay, fine. Lingual nerve, let me tell you, lingual nerve keeps coming down. Yeah, it goes to the tongue, you know, it carries anterior 2/3 general sensation from the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. You are aware about it, lingual nerve, yeah? Fine. Not only that, it is structurally related to which ganglia? Submandibular ganglia. Okay, now understanding the topographical relation of each, we'll go with it. That is, ciliary ganglion is related topographically with nasociliary nerve, which is a branch of ophthalmic division. Yeah, pterygopalatine ganglion is topographically related to maxillary nerve directly. Otic ganglion is topographically related to mandibular nerve. Yeah, or what is this? This one? Submandibular ganglion. Yeah, submandibular ganglion is topographically related to lingual nerve, which is also a branch of mandibular nerve. Fine. Now this much you have understood. We'll go little more in further about each ganglia. What we need to talk about is functional relation. Let us start with ciliary ganglia. You need to have an understanding. This is midbrain. So midbrain, at the level of superior colliculus, we have a nucleus to oculomotor nerve. Let me talk about oculomotor nerve first, so you will understand how is this ganglia in relation to it. Oculomotor nerve, it leaves the midbrain. At the level of superior colliculus, it leaves the midbrain. Yeah, and it passes through, our cavernous sinus, all that. You don't have to know all that for now. This oculomotor nerve will be entering the superior orbital fissure again, dividing into two divisions, upper division and lower division. Upper division, it gives motor to three muscles, extraocular. What all is it? Levator palpebrae superioris, superior oblique and superior rectus. I hope you can see that. And lower division, it gives two branches, that is to inferior rectus and inferior oblique. Now this is where we need to be little careful. Till here you have understood that our oculomotor nerve divides into upper division and lower division. Upper division you leave it. Lower division alone, it gives two branches supplying inferior rectus, lower, right, and inferior oblique. Let me talk further to that. This much is oculomotor nerve and its course. Yeah. Now very close to oculomotor nucleus, we have Edinger-Westphal nucleus. These Edinger-Westphal nucleus carry parasympathetic fibers to which ganglia? Ciliary ganglia. That's why I am using the same color for your understanding. Okay. Now, Edinger-Westphal, that is Edinger-Westphal nucleus, very closely related to that of oculomotor nucleus in the midbrain at the level of superior colliculus only. Now, these Edinger-Westphal nucleus, which is a parasympathetic nuclei of ciliary ganglion, yeah, the fibers of parasympathetic will be traveling along the course of what? Oculomotor nerve. Same course. Through superior orbital fissure, yeah, same thing. It will go along with inferior oblique branch. Inferior oblique. And the branch to inferior oblique, that is what I was talking about. Now that will go and relay in what ganglia? Parasympathetic preganglionic fibers will go and relay in ciliary ganglia. From here what happens, guys? From the ciliary ganglia, there are these short ciliary nerves. They go and supply two C's. What are the two C's? You remember ciliary ganglia as the C. supplying two C's. What are the two C's? Constrictor pupillae and ciliary muscles. Constrictor pupillae and ciliary muscles together. Constrictor pupillae means you have understood it will help in constriction of pupil. Yeah. So both acting together, what is the outcome? It helps in two reflexes or the two pathways. What is it? Light reflex and accommodation reflex. Is it okay? So that is all about ciliary ganglia. Yeah. So you have understood topographically ciliary ganglia is related to ophthalmic division of trigeminal. Yeah, especially the nerve called as nasociliary nerve. That is what is seen here. It is clinging to that. And functionally, the ganglia is related to what? Oculomotor. Oculomotor nerve. What is the nuclei? It is coming all the way from Edinger-Westphal nucleus. Now we'll quick go about pterygopalatine ganglion. Pterygopalatine and submandibular is functionally related to which cranial nerve? That's right, facial nerve. Facial nerve. Okay, we'll talk about that. Facial nerve. Facial nerve nuclei are located in pons. Pons, facial nerve. Leave about motor component. I'm talking about the sensory component. Yeah. Now through the sensory nerve, that is nervus intermedius, the fibers will come there. Yeah. The facial nerve, what is your understanding? Both motor and sensory will come together, isn't it? Now, before it enters into the middle ear, now imagine this is middle ear. Before it enters into middle ear, it gives a bend. It gives a bend. That is called as geniculate ganglia. The thickening is called as geniculate ganglion. Geniculate ganglion, at the level of that, it gives one first branch from the facial nerve, that is only called as greater petrosal nerve. What is it called as? Greater petrosal nerve. Greater petrosal nerve. Yeah? Hang on your thought till there. Okay? You also need to understand where are these sympathetic fibers coming from. You should know that this is our spinal cord. Now imagine this is at the level of T1. This is lateral horn. Yeah? The fibers emerging from the lateral horn are the one which has the sympathetic fibers. Yeah? These fibers will go and relay where, what ganglion is this? This is only superior cervical sympathetic ganglia. Okay? These sympathetic fibers will go and relay here. Now, the postganglionic fibers will either go and, I'll use a different color. Now, this is our common carotid artery. It gives external carotid and internal carotid, isn't it? These sympathetic fibers will be winding around external carotid artery and its branches or internal carotid artery. For now, for talking about PP ganglion, we are little worried about internal carotid artery. See how it is winding? Winding, and the nerve which arises from this wind, that is called as, see, it is going and meeting with the greater petrosal nerve. So what would you like to call this nerve which is arising from the sympathetic plexus winding around internal carotid artery? That is called as, this one is called as deep petrosal nerve. So deep petrosal nerve and greater petrosal nerve join together. I'll use the blue only. Join together to form what? Form nerve of pterygoid canal. Nerve of pterygoid canal, which will go and relay in, what is this ganglion? Yeah, pterygopalatine ganglion. So preganglionic pterygopalatine fibers are coming from nerve to pterygoid canal. It's also called as Vidian's canal, Vidian's nerve. What is Vidian's nerve? That is fusion of greater petrosal nerve from the facial nerve and deep petrosal nerve coming from the sympathetic plexus around internal carotid artery joined together to form nerve of pterygoid canal. This nerve forming the preganglionic parasympathetic fibers will go and relay in which ganglion? Pterygopalatine ganglion. Now you listen thereafter. What happens? From the ganglion, there are so many ganglionic nerves which will be going and pouring its secretion into nasal cavity, nasal glands. Yeah. It will pour its secretion into soft palate somewhere here. That is called as palatine nerves. This is called as nasal nerve. Yeah. it also go to the pharynx, yeah, pharyngeal nerve. So what do you understand? Whenever we talk about pterygopalatine ganglion, you need to remember our hay fever. So in hay fever, what is your knowledge? Hay fever, we have this, yeah, congested nose, congested throat because of all these, yeah. Again, through the maxillary nerve, yeah, we also need to have in hay fever what is it, excessive lacrimation also, right? How is that possible? You remember, through this zygomatic nerve, I was talking about mandibular maxillary nerve. Through the zygomatic nerve, via this communication, the fibers will go again and pour its secretion into what gland is this? Yeah, lacrimal gland. So there will be excessive lacrimation. That is it. That is all about pterygopalatine ganglion. Now what else is left out? We are left out with lingual nerve, the submandibular ganglion. I told you facial nerve is functionally related to two ganglion, pterygopalatine and submandibular. So what branch is this? When the facial nerve enters into middle ear, yeah, it gives a branch. What is this branch called as? Chorda tympani. Chorda tympani branch will go and join with lingual nerve. Chorda tympani, very important nerve. This chorda tympani is carrying preganglionic parasympathetic fibers to which ganglion? Submandibular. Through the lingual nerve, it will pour its secretion into submandibular. From the ganglion, there are so many ganglionic branches which will go and supply. What gland is this? Submandibular gland. Also again back to lingual nerve, that will pour its secretion into what small gland? Sublingual gland. That is it. That is all about submandibular ganglion. Very easy it is. Next left out is our otic ganglion. Otic ganglion, you know, it is structurally related to what? Mandibular nerve. Now I'll change. Mandibular nerve. You forget about this auriculotemporal. Mandibular nerve. It is directly in relation with mandibular nerve. Yeah, I have made a mistake here. It's directly in relation with that of mandibular nerve. Yeah, you forget about this. Imagine this is otic ganglion. Yeah, otic ganglion is, now we are talking about otic ganglion. It is in infratemporal fossa, exactly below to foramen ovale. Very closely related to which nerve? Mandibular nerve. Okay. Now, this otic ganglion is functionally, topographically you have understood it is related to mandibular nerve. Functionally, it is related to which cranial nerve? That is our glossopharyngeal nerve. 9th cranial nerve. Glossopharyngeal nerve will give a branch. Imagine this is glossopharyngeal. It gives a tympanic branch which will go to middle ear, break into plexus. From the plexus, the nerve arises, is called as lesser petrosal nerve. Lesser petrosal nerve, which will enter through foramen ovale again. You remember male structures, MALE. M is being mandibular, L is being lesser petrosal. Yeah, through this plexus, the nerve arising is called as lesser petrosal nerve, tympanic plexus. Yeah, this lesser petrosal nerve will go and relay in otic ganglion. Is that okay? So lesser petrosal nerve becomes what? It becomes preganglionic parasympathetic fibers. From the otic ganglion, it will go and pour its secretion into what? Into our gland called as parotid gland. I am drawing parotid gland here. Via which branch? Via auriculotemporal nerve. So I will just talk about otic ganglion again. 9th cranial nerve, that is glossopharyngeal nerve. Glossopharyngeal nerve gives a branch called as tympanic branch of glossopharyngeal. As the name indicates, it will enter into middle ear and break into plexus over promontory. That is called as tympanic plexus. The nerve arising from tympanic plexus is called as lesser petrosal nerve. Via foramen ovale, it will leave and go and relay in otic ganglion. So lesser petrosal nerve becomes the preganglionic. After that, via auriculotemporal nerve, being the postganglionic, will go and pour its secretion into which gland? This is only our parotid gland. That is it. So this is all about parasympathetic ganglia. Thank you for watching. Please go through the video twice if you don't understand, and also have your textbook as your reference. Thank you. And I also want to tell you that the sympathetic for all these ganglia, which I have drawn with orange, you need to understand sympathetic for all the 4 ganglia are the same. That is, it is coming from T1. At the level of T1, the fibers arise and go and relay in what ganglia? Superior cervical sympathetic ganglia. From here, whichever artery is close to each gland, that is submandibular, parotid, be it lacrimal, whichever artery is close to, that is be it a branch of internal carotid or external carotid, it will wind around it and go and supply the gland. That is it. This is all you need to understand. Thank you.